Abby. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. And hello, my lovely Erik. You're going to help Abby get through this topic because we are going to talk about the Texas killing fields. Now, we really don't know who the serial killer, if there's one, if there's more than one. But basically, around Texas City, it's just a perfect place to dump bodies, to kill and then dump bodies. And well, first I want to ask you, the serial killer that almost killed me in Galveston, was that one of them, Erik?
What happened to you? Oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ooh, I didn't know about that.
Edwin Hedrick. I'll just tell you the story. I've told y'all, some of y'all have heard this before on YouTube, but I was a third-year resident internal medicine at UTMB, University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston. And I had a brutal call, after which I said, I'm going to take a blanket and a book and go to the beach. It was like Monday or Tuesday, so nobody, I mean, it was empty. Then I felt this weird sense of dread, and I looked over and there's this creepy looking guy going down the steps of the seawall to the beach, and he walks to me, and I'm like, oh shit, this is my last day on earth. I just knew it. And so he started talking to me, and then he started massaging my thighs without permission and made a comment about how I had cellulite, which I did not. I'm here to tell you, I thought it was very rude. And then anyway, he started to do this, like he's gonna strangle me, but then he stopped. And he asked me, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm a physician and I'm a black belt karate instructor. So he kind of looked kind of weird and just walked away. Of course, I'm not. Okay, I'm not a black belt anything. And anyway, 2 years later, I saw him that he was arrested as a suspect for the Texas killing fields, thing. So is he one of them, Erik? He just got released from prison. I cannot believe it. In here, in my town, in Houston, and he's at a halfway house. And the authorities say, if anybody sees him outside of the halfway house, notify the authorities immediately because he's very dangerous. Well, why the hell did you release him then? Ugh. So anyway, is he one of them?
I'm getting that. Yes, he is a murderer.
How many women has he killed, or people, humans?
I just heard the number 3.
Okay, I could have been number 4.
So actually, Erik's telling me something super interesting that shouldn't surprise me can happen, and I didn't ever think of it this way. But you know how there's like no time in heaven.
Yeah. I think I'm handling what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Yeah. So like he actually was able to jump back to that incident, and like he was a part of protecting you from having that happen so he could be born.
Oh God, that is so glad you did.
Crazy.
Oh man.
Blowing my mind.
What was he planning to kill me?
He says he was teasing you.
The guy?
Yeah, the guy was teasing you.
To kill me though?
It wasn't a good circumstance to kill you in that moment.
Okay.
He was a lot more sneaky, obviously, about how he did it.
Okay.
Preferred finding his women at night where there was less people that could see him and do it. But yes, he was a very, very bad man.
Yeah. Sounds bad. All right. Is there more than one serial killer since the 70s that have been dumping bodies in the Texas killing fields? These are for the community's questions from the community.
Yeah, it looks like there's been a lot of serial killers that have actually what's interesting is there's some kind of like energy center on that road.
Wow.
On that road. It's like, okay, so you know how like the polar caps and I don't even know what they call them, like the land divides. There's like energy vortexes.
The ley lines?
Ley lines, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's actually along that part of Texas, right? Going from like, is it the Gulf Coast? The Gulf? there,
Right.
all the way up through. There's actually this like energy vortex there.
Ooh,
And that has to do with geography, Eric says.
okay.
So that's a geographical like formation. It just has to do with energy. There's like a lot of
It attracts,
energy there, and it
attracts dark shit.
crazy shit happening. And
Wow. How many serial killers? I mean, it's also just perfect swampy land. That's, I don't know, it's lots of it. So I mean, the property value went way down. But how many killers have dumped bodies there?
well over a dozen.
Wow. How many bodies do you think were dumped? I mean, obviously not all of them have been found, but
So in the upwards of like, I'm getting, well, I just got the number 24.
okay.
So I'm asking Eric to like help me out with this a little bit more, because these are not topics that I usually like discuss.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, Eric, like calm me down a little bit here. Okay, so there's it goes through the decades. So there's multiple times where there's quite a few that get dumped, and then they find them, but then more get dumped. And it's just really not, it really is kind of a dumping ground for bodies. And it's not just serial killers, it's like just people that dump bodies, bad people, like
Oh. So
yeah.
is there one main serial killer that we can ask questions about?
Eric, is
Whether
there
it's
one
alive or dead, it doesn't make a difference.
that we can ask questions about? There is one main one that he dumped about 12 bodies
Okay.
along there, and then he's telling me along the shore.
Oh, was he a
So
local or a trucker?
I don't know anything about geography with
Yeah.
that whole region, so I don't know what the water means are like around
Well,
there.
there's the Texas City Dike, there's water there for sure.
Okay,
Was
so
he local or was he a trucker passing by or?
no, he was actually from Texas. He was he started out as a transient, and then he came into the region, and then he kind of just stuck in the region. And he worked like an undercover kind of job that you just wouldn't like, worked on cars, I guess,
Okay.
for a little bit.
Okay.
He's saying that he kept a very low profile.
Okay. Is he alive?
So yes, he's alive.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I believe he's actually incarcerated.
Okay. All right.
So
Wow. Cool. Let's say, did he live in Galveston or Texas City or League City?
he's saying 20 miles outside of Galveston.
So Hitchcock, League City, well, whatever, that's good enough. Will it ever be revealed who exactly is responsible? Well, I guess it is, but maybe they don't know that he's actually the main one, even though it's in, but so we'll skip those. So, were you ever interviewed by investigators or police and then released over any of them, I guess?
Yeah, there's been between 3 and 4, which is really surprising. People that have been interviewed and released
That are
that
one
have
of the
actually been,
Ooh.
and it has to do with, it's not just like forensics has come a long way.
Right.
So there's been people that they're like right on track about, and they know that they did it, but they don't have anything to prove it
Okay. Yeah.
other than just like a good feeling. So and just like little insufficient evidence. So there's people that they knew were some serial killers that dumped, or not just serial killers, we'll just say even one-time murderers that dumped
Okay.
bodies. But then what happened is there was nothing they could really pin them with or do
Okay.
about it, because they didn't have enough evidence, and I guess like I said, it has to do a lot with the energy systems all up and down there. It's like, it's so weird. It's like a moth drawn to a flame.
Oh my God.
It's like a magnet for like, hey,
That is
looks like I'm gonna jump a
creepy.
body.
Oh, it'd
Yeah,
be cool to go at night. Well, not really, and just film for orbs. Wouldn't that be cool? We should do that.
there would be a lot of them.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of
All
them.
right. Did the main one? Did you know what turns you into a serial killer? I mean, were you born that way? It's like, was there a brain defect, or was there abuse in childhood? I mean, what happened?
So a multitude of I'm hearing like a huge clash. So part of it is the whole brain defect, and then they're bringing up this like OCDism thing
Okay.
that just kind of like Eric's using the word polarized into something else.
Okay.
It really, it becomes obsession. It becomes it's like an immobilization until you get your needs met. It's like you can't
Oh,
and you stop, and it's like you can't think about anything else, and then until it becomes Eric saying like this forcible habit
yeah.
that it's like you can't stop yourself.
Did
And
you kill animals before you started killing humans?
there's this man that's like coming through right now. I'm just trying to like set this protective little barrier up. He's
Oh boy.
like,
Okay.
yeah, he's got this big face like
Okay.
this. He's
Oh.
definitely pretty bald. He's got these piercing blue eyes.
Is he
And
alive?
he's big. He's a big guy.
Is he alive or dead?
I believe he's alive still.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's committed like multiple murders. And I believe it's his higher self that's coming through right now.
Okay.
And he's explaining like what the killing fields are like, and how drawn to that energy a lot of mass murderers and really bad people feel, which
Yeah.
is super creepy. That's creepy.
Very. Very. All right.
Yeah.
So, did you kill animals first? And how old were you when you killed your first human?
Yes, it's very typical with the
Yeah.
whole killing animals thing. This man is just like so burly and big, and
Okay.
it's almost like you'd think he was kind, but he's
Okay,
not,
but don't worry, you're fine.
not
Nothing can
nice.
happen to you.
And he's saying it's okay because I'm my higher self right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good.
He's telling me to remember that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please do. I don't want you to get scared.
Yeah.
All right. So, how old were you when you killed your first human?
16.
Was there rape always involved, or almost always?
I'm like stuck on how did you get away with that at 16?
Oh,
Okay, so it was like a fight he got into, and it looks like it was back in like the 50s.
okay.
He got into a fight with his buddies, and it looks like he got in a fight with another guy, and the guy got hit in the head, and it started out as an accident. He didn't mean to like actually
Right.
kill him.
But he got off on it probably.
We totally got off on it because it was like a
Oh.
boys fighting thing a long time ago, and
Mm.
it ended up getting like shoved under the rug.
So did
So
you kill? Oh, go ahead.
that's the incidents with that. What was the question? Did he kill animals first, or what?
Yeah,
what was
we answered that, I think. So did you kill mostly women after that, or a mix, or all guys, or what?
So he was physically very attracted to men.
Okay. Like
And
Jeffrey
very,
Dahmer. I think he killed most of the
yeah,
guys.
very angry about it because
Oh, yeah.
he keeps hearing his dad's voice in his head, like screaming at him and like, what are you, a faggot? What are you, gay? You know, like
Oh,
it just
yeah. Oh.
really fanned the flames. He says he predominantly killed women,
Okay.
but there were men that he would hook up with,
Mhm.
and then he would kill because he would be angry because liked it so much. Not just
Yeah,
the
the
killing,
guilt was
but
turned into
the
rage.
guilt was, yeah, turned to rage. He actually, I feel like there was a lover that he actually had emotion for,
Mm.
that he did kill. He says, I don't know that he ever found the body. It was somebody that he just like picked up along the way, that
Okay.
was kind of a nameless person anyway, that spent time with him at his house. And
Okay.
like he cared for him and like helped him and just like was there.
Mhm.
And then that turned into one thing after another, and he ended up
Dead.
killing him and dismembering him and spreading his body along the highway.
Oh my God. Okay. But with the women you killed, did you kill because you were mad that you weren't attracted to them, or was it like something about your mother, or um
There were lots of reasons, but really no reason at all. One of them was that because he could, he got off on that because he felt stronger and masculine. Another one was because they were trashy hoes. Okay.
oh, did he look down, did he look down on them, I guess then?
He says, no, I put them in their place.
Oh, was there any rape of women?
He said he tried. From what I'm seeing, like I'm seeing a visual, and it looks like he was trying to.
Okay.
But then he says, because I know I should.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Stopping.
Yeah.
I wonder who this person is that I'm like connecting with right now.
I don't know. Maybe somebody in the community will pick that up, because they
Yeah.
can Google. Was there anything at all that would have made a difference and set you on a different path?
He's saying not really.
What's the age range of those you killed? What's the youngest, and then what's the oldest?
He says he would feel guilty if it was a teenager, which he did kill teenagers. But the teenagers that he killed were mostly men teenagers.
Okay.
There were a couple women
Okay.
that had some more masculine features and just fucking hoes. That's nice.
Okay. All right. He's supposed to be nice. He's a serial killer. Was this your contract? Was this some spiritual contract?
He says, sure was.
And what was that for? For the collective, for you? Or what was there to learn and teach and all that stuff?
He's being a little snarky. He's saying, because I could.
Okay.
Okay, so he's saying it's an exercise in tolerance.
Tolerance. What do you mean? For him?
Yeah, it's an exercise in how much he could tolerate with his needs and his desires, having been met, having not being met. He goes, we'll call it living your life till its fullest. Oh, he's very like sarcastic a little bit.
Oh boy, it sounds like it. So was there a lesson about self-love for you?
He says I had no self-love. Nor did I want self-love. He says he had no self-love. He only had room for self-loathing.
Why?
Because he hated himself so much, he says.
Yeah, why did you hate yourself?
He felt like he shouldn't breathe.
Wow. Was that because of the killings, or was it even before you started killing?
He says it's actually because of a mental issue he had with himself.
Okay. Yeah.
He came into this world with just very, there was just this connection in his brain that was just so narcissistic.
Okay.
And he could just, like a light switch. He didn't really feel much. Like, it's like he had no empathy.
So
And
were you ever remorseful when you killed somebody? You sound like you said something
sometimes, but towards animals. not towards people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. How did you choose your victims?
He's saying that some of them were at random and some of them were at play.
What do you mean?
So I think that like I'm seeing this image actually of a country bar, and
Oh,
he's
okay.
in it and he's walking,
Typical.
yeah, and he's having a nice time just to keeping to himself, and like, and then he's like leaving there, and then he sees this like random drunk girl, you know, and the whole typical serial killer story of, hey, you want to ride home, or like, you know, what's going on, you look sad tonight, you know, and that's he says somebody that nobody was paying attention to.
Okay.
He
All
says
right.
somebody a lot like me,
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
saying somebody dirty and destructive is what I was drawn to.
Okay. Did you incur serious bad karma for murdering all those people?
Uh, yes and no. No, because it was a life plan.
Yeah.
It like it
Contract,
came
yeah.
in, yeah. And there were agreements like pre-contractually that were made in this
Oh.
between him and his victims, even the
Oh,
animal.
okay.
Um, he says it's all about life's lessons, and somebody's got to be the bad guy.
Okay. There's a lot of questions like, how was your life review? Did you meet your victims after you passed, but you didn't pass? So we're going to skip those. Did you have any affiliation to Satanism, or did you have any religion? Were you
No,
religious at all?
no,
Okay. Were you demonically possessed?
no.
Okay. Were
No.
negative entities of anything from the dark affecting your behavior?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm sure they were just
Yeah. His
blood.
aura was like
Feet
Swiss
on your.
cheese,
Oh my God. Oh,
and
could have done portal work on you.
it just brought him on in, and he heard a lot of voices in his head telling him things. And those things were self-destructive, but he says he was too much of a pussy to hurt himself.
Okay.
But he did do some self-mutilation things.
Oh, really? Oh, that's typical self-loathing.
Yeah,
Can you
like
talk about another life that you had that sort of affected this one or influenced this one somehow?
okay, so there was one life. This is like awful. So when he was being born, his mom died at birth.
Oh, wow.
He remembers, well, obviously you don't remember being born, but between it's just something in a past life with like his mom had died when he was being born, and it kind of triggered something to be born to do murder.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but it was never planned. Like he's like bringing this up that it was like he was a good boy. He did good things too. He's saying I wasn't all bad.
Are you talking about this carnation or the other one?
This carnation.
Oh, okay, okay.
But the like he's kind of full of excuses there. But the last incarnation, his mom died at birth when he was born.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, how did you live the rest of your life? And he says it was triggering.
Yeah.
He says it was triggering.
Were you raised an orphan, raised by your father? I mean,
he was raised by the father, who then remarried this really witchy woman, he says.
Okay.
And it created a lot of anger and resentment, and somehow that's associated with him coming in. That was his most recent incarnation.
Oh.
And then this lifetime he came in still angry.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this, but I mean, there's lots I don't know. But I guess there's something there about coming into this life and choosing to, and not having it be the most it's all pre-planned, but it's almost like not completely divinely. It's like he came in too soon again. Like he just
Okay.
instead of really but then he's kind of contradicting, because he's like, things are meant to be, like things are meant to be in their own timing, but then he
Right.
also completely ready to come back into this incarnation, but then so not really
Did you
seeing
kill
that.
people in that incarnation? That previous one?
No, but he tortured
Okay.
them like little rats, like
Okay.
little, because he was fascinated with death and the dying process
Yeah,
in
I've
the
heard
last
about it.
life. Not,
Wow.
I mean, yes, this one, but also the last one. And then okay, so best way to explain it is he just came back worse.
Oh, did his father outwardly blame him for the mother's death? Was that an issue?
Yeah, it's like that whole typical story of, the mom dies, and then he remarries this witchy stepmother that has children, and it's like and then they have more kids together, and he's forgotten and he's abandoned, and I believe it was in England.
Okay, but was he ever blamed by the witchy woman or the father? You killed your own mother, anything like that?
Not with words so much
Okay.
as being
What about
Keys's cat
treatment?
aside, thrown aside. Like he
Oh,
always kind of felt that way, but
okay.
I guess there was a time when the father, right before the father died as an old man, they got into it and he said some really nasty stuff to him, and then he died.
Okay. Well, that's
So
not.
it never, yeah. And
Bella, be
and
quiet.
then like, when he crossed over, it's like, I don't know, some kind of stubbornness stuck with him there. And it's like they could, yeah.
All right. What was this any lesson for the collective? The serial killing, basically?
He says they're all lessons for the collective. We don't do anything just for our own
Oh,
greed.
interesting.
He said
Okay.
it's really a big lesson in
What is
general.
it? Yeah, what is the lesson? Or at least one of the main ones.
That's creepy. He says, watch your back.
Oh, yeah, be aware, I guess. Be aware of in life.
He
Not to
says
be fearful, but just be
he
aware.
says part of it is to be unjudgmental.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He says, because you just never know. You never
Yeah.
know somebody's story. You never know how much somebody might hate themselves.
Yeah.
You
Or
never know.
maybe learning to a lesson for the collective to learn how to trust their intuition. Because something like me, I
He
felt
says a huge,
dread, and I
Eric
didn't
said,
even know somebody
Eric
was
said
coming
going a
down the stairs.
huge yes, a
Yeah.
huge yes.
Okay. Yeah. Because I just felt that dread before I even saw the guy. Okay. Do people whose bodies have not been discovered yet, have they found peace?
Yes, because it's part of a contractual agreement
Okay.
going into the situation that this is happening. And that is so humanly hard to fathom and understand. I mean, if it was my family members or my friends, I would never accept that as an answer, but contractually, it's an agreement they go into. And because of that, there always has to be one giving and one that's the giver and one that's the givey.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of contract? Oh, sorry.
And so it's a given, it's a take.
Okay.
In every lifetime you go into and playing out these different roles. So yes, there's a lot of peace that's brought with it because it's easy. It's kind of like the saying Eric says, that it's easier to be broken up with than be the one breaking up, because it's almost like you're forced to accept it versus being the one making the decisions.
Okay. Have you ever been able to feel any forgiveness from your victims?
He says yes. And actually there was somebody that he was murdering. And as they were dying, they told him that they forgave him. He
Oh,
says
wow.
it's the most realist, most compassionate, most real feeling he's ever felt in his whole life.
Was it a
Was
male or a female?
it was a female.
Okay.
And yeah, she said that to him, and that made him human for a minute. And he says that's pretty much the only time he thought about really what he did. He says, other than trying to get away with it. And the only reason why he tried to get away with it was because there was nothing else to do.
Oh my God. Well, you could have picked up knitting, quilting. Good Lord. Seriously.
He thinks life is funny.
Oh yeah. I don't
he's-
think your victims did.
I feel like
Woo!
he's gone back and forth about I did it, I didn't do it. I did it, I didn't do it. Because he says he likes that mystery.
Okay.
He says he's a changed man now in a lot of ways because he's an old man.
Okay.
And so he doesn't think quite like how he used to.
Do you still have the compulsions, the obsessions?
He says he would.
Pardon me?
He says he would.
But do you still, so you still feel that even though you can't act on it because you're in prison?
His thoughts tend to wander, is what he's saying at times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sometimes think about killing.
Yes. But it's different. It's not like there's opportunity to. It's not
But is it just as strong an obsession as it was when you were younger and not incarcerated?
He says it's in different ways now.
Okay.
He says that if he was out walking about, then that compulsion like would come back more.
Okay.
It's not like it was an obsession, but then at the same time, it was like the situations had to be right.
Yeah.
For it to kind of transpire.
Okay.
So where he's at now, the situations are not as right, so it can't transpire
Yeah, of course
the
not.
way that he would choose for it to, because he says it was much more about, it's kind of like the act of it, the act of it all. It's like this ritual kind of effect. And it's like if he couldn't do it in the way that he wanted to do it and how he wanted to do it, then it wasn't the same effect, because it was more than just wanting to kill somebody. It was like the whole process of it all.
Yeah, the hunt, the choosing, everything. Yeah, I can imagine the body disposal in the dark of night, the dismembering. Oh God. All right. So you're incarcerated. Are you is it life in prison or are you on death row?
I feel like he's on death row, but he's in like a special, or not death row, sorry. He like incarcerated forever, but without parole. And also he's not like in the state where it happened. Like he was transferred to a separate facility that they keep like the worst of the worst of the worst.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
Maybe I don't know who I'm talking to.
It's okay. It's interesting. Exit point. When is your next exit point?
He's saying that death is coming. He can feel it every day. I feel like it's going to be just passing as an old man in prison.
Right.
So he says he could have had many exit points if that's what he really wanted to do. He could have really taken it.
Yeah.
But he says he's much happier just doing what he's doing. He says he reminisces. He says if you want to, he's being kind of creepy again. He's like, if you want to know, my dear Elisa, he says,
Oh gosh.
If I think about killing, he says it's like he fantasizes on in daydreams and kind of gets off on thinking about it like plays in a movie in his mind.
I see. Yeah.
And then there's like that he, like the dismemberment of his lover or whatever, along that road that like he's gotten away with. So it's like he has this real pride in it too. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you said you're a changed man. What have you found? Jesus? In what way are you changed?
So
Are you happy?
it's funny because I knew you were
Feel
going to bring
guilty
up
now?
the religious question because he actually said that he, like a little bit ago when you were talking, he was saying that he's tried to find religion.
Okay.
He's tried, and he does believe in parts of the Bible. And I'm like, I'm actually asking him right now if that scares him, because like in the Bible, you know,
Yeah.
murder, sin. Does that scare you? Does that influence you? Because he does consider himself to be like okay, like maybe like a born again Christian. I don't know.
Really? But do you think you're
But
going to go
something
to hell?
religious he's
There is
considering
really no
himself.
hell, but in your mind, do you feel like you're going to go to hell? Or do you think you've repented and will go to heaven?
He's hoping that he goes no place at all.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't want to go to heaven and he doesn't want to go to hell. He just wants to rest. He still doesn't have much empathy. He's still
Okay.
not very
Well, that's the
like
brain.
sorry. He knows what to say to maybe like make it look like he's human, but
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not very, there's this other aspect to him which is actually very extraterrestrial.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
Like
reptilian?
I don't know the name of this. It's similar to reptilian.
The
But
bad Anunnaki?
when it comes to the lifetime question, like
Yeah.
before what
Yeah.
lifetime? So the most recent one was like, you know, I told you about that with his mom. But then before that, it's like he's been extraterrestrial a lot.
Like,
Born-
well, there's Enlils, the team of Anunnaki that are not good, that hate humankind. Is he that? Or some other type of insectoid,
He's
manta?
like, I'm seeing like images that look a lot more to me like a reptilian, like how
Okay.
a reptilian would look in my head.
Okay.
I'm seeing images more like that.
Okay.
These figures are really tall.
Okay.
And they just fight over everything and they just destroy each other. And he's just had lifetimes that were of this like breed of
Yeah.
no empathy
Mm.
and very like they even kill their spouses, you know. It's like all themselves, like they don't have, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that true of most serial killers, that they've got this extraterrestrial component, extraterrestrial DNA?
He's saying there can be at times.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the guy who was on the beach with me. Why? Well, not why was he let out? I know it was based on some old release rules that are messed up. Is he remorseful? Has he changed? And did you know him at all? You met him?
No, because he was already transferred.
Okay.
But actually, they were from like Texas. So I think this person that I'm communicating with at some point wasn't, well, obviously, because he was dumping bodies on that. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
that makes sense now.
No.
That makes sense now. He's telling me I'm too happy for him.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Well,
My
that's
bad.
good. Will Clyde go on to kill? Will he kill somebody now that he's released? He probably has an ankle bracelet on. I don't know.
No, I don't feel like he will. He's saying he's too much. He's too afraid of getting caught.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
He's saying he's calling him a pussy. He's saying he doesn't have it in him anymore in his age to be that person. But I feel like he's living a very seclusive life, very lonely. He says he's also very misunderstood.
Okay. Clyde? Or you?
Clyde.
Okay. Do you feel like you are misunderstood?
He answered you before you even spoke. He said, not at all.
Not at all?
Like nobody understood him.
Oh, I see. I got you. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
still have the same level of self-loathing for yourself?
No, he just doesn't really care anymore.
Oh,
He's
so
he's
just
he's
apathy.
accepted his fate. He's accepted, like, he says he never really felt like he had much of a fate. Like, he didn't really think ahead in the future like normal people do. He kind of just, yeah, he sounds like a really just mental dude.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant to ask. I keep forgetting.
He doesn't
Did
process
he have
things like
anything else like autism or schizophrenia or
he did.
anything like that?
He was definitely on some kind of spectrum there for something.
But lack
Um,
of empathy, yeah. Okay.
yeah, it was, I'm asking him if it was like, if it could have been fixed
Mhm.
by chemicals, or like, is there something you could have taken? And he says by today's standards, possibly, but in during those times, he says he was too careful to make sure that he didn't get caught.
Mm.
And he enjoyed it too much.
Mm.
And he didn't want to change, and he would never have, he knew something was wrong with him.
Yeah.
He did know that.
Yeah.
He acknowledged that. He was never mad at himself. It was more like, oh, I did it again.
Oh, okay. 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 What was what were we answering? Were you schizophrenic too? You said
Yeah,
yes, you're on the spectrum. What about
well,
schizophrenia?
yeah, yes and no. So he heard voices all the time, which we talked about earlier, is because
Right.
like actually he was getting really influenced by these
Okay.
other entities that were coming through.
Mm.
But he did also have some schizophrenic tendencies as well, associated with his mental illness.
Like
Um,
schizoaffective disorder, who knows? But
yeah,
something like
he is bringing up to me though that he's planning on forgiving himself,
that. Okay.
so that way then like he can have another lifetime that he can come into with more peace in his heart,
Yeah.
so he can be a different person, because he'd really like to be he says he'd like to be a wife and a mother.
Oh, so in the next lifetime, are you not going to be a killer then? You want to be,
He says he wants to try something different.
yeah, I bet. So you want to be a wife and a mother. Oh, that's so sweet. All right. Anything else you want to say about serial killing or yourself or Clyde Edwin Hedrick? Anything? Whoever you are.
So he's saying so just so you know, there's like an L name, like a Lawrence or something. I don't
Okay.
know. I could be wrong there, but
Okay.
so he's saying, although my actions were undeniably unforgettable and incredible, there was a lot of maintenance involved with that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And because of that, he regrets like a lot of time wasted for himself for personal things that he really did want to do,
Like
like
what?
owning his own mechanic shop or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that lifestyle made it hard for him to, in his actions, he's kind of like actually separating his actions a little bit. So
Okay.
he's like saying it as like it's almost somebody else.
Okay.
So
Like
I
you
don't know if
said, this
that's a
one
coping mechanism.
being, I gotcha. Were there
I
more
don't know.
than one souls in your body? Or are
He
there?
says yes, and they struggled.
Oh, okay. So there
Yeah.
was a serial killer soul, and then gosh, I want to open up my own mechanic shop soul.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's almost like at times he was two different people. But that's how he hid it so well. And he says that that is a typical narrative of a typical serial killer,
Oh,
is having, is completely being able to divide yourself off
yeah.
and be somebody different. He says, because he was somebody different.
Yeah, it's like the devil made me do it. It's that.
Yeah, I also feel like he had relationships like in his younger years, like normal people do, with women and with men.
Okay.
And it wasn't like he just came across everybody and just murdered everybody he knew.
Yeah. Oh,
He
right.
would get these drives and these uncomfortable drives.
Right.
And then he says that he tried. He had no empathy, but he did know that he tried to stay away from situations so that way he wouldn't do it, because he did have these little wants, these little human wants for himself, like opening the mechanic shop.
Right.
Like there was this car he really, really, really wanted. to save money for. And, it's just like, it made it difficult for him.
Yeah.
He says, because he had to kind of reconstruct his time frame, his timeline, so he wouldn't get, yeah.
And so you were not a truck driver though, right? Ever?
He said he drove trucks, but as
Okay.
being his ultimate profession, no.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Anything else you want to say about your childhood before we close? Except your father would be mean to you.
He says it wasn't real. It was all fake.
What do you mean?
It was a fake kind of emotions in the family.
Oh.
Nobody could keep their emotions real with each other. That's part of what taught him, like, from the beginning, to kind of be two different people. Because it's not that he wasn't allowed to, they just didn't do it. So he needed a separate entity of himself that he could be somebody different.
Oh, wow. So was there mental illness in your parents then?
Yeah, and it was like on his dad's side and the uncles, like there was mental illness with the uncles too.
Okay.
So his dad, the anger and
Yeah.
the whole typical stuff like that. His mom was a sweetheart though.
Okay. All right. But on his dad's side, what intermittent explosive disorder? Not intermittent explosive diarrhea, but intermittent explosive disorder.
Yeah, you
Anger.
could call it that. It was a lot of anger, a lot of corruption, he says.
Okay.
Okay. So I feel like he really like shaped and influenced like his thoughts to not always
His mom knows how to pick them.
Yeah, to not really be as they were. So, but then there's that whole mental illness component of it.
Yeah.
So it's like
Great.
he was.
Right. Oh, so no. Yeah. I guess we'll close. Is there anything else you want to, or Abby, do you want to ask him a question or two? Erik, do you want to ask him anything?
I think I pretty much asked him everything I wanted to ask him. I'm actually thanking him for coming through right now, and I'm thanking Erik because.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Abby, for being so brave.
You're welcome.
All right, and we are going to do a session about Santa before Christmas. So you guys hit the notification bell so you don't miss that. And like this video and share. And Abby, can you please tell everybody, share with the class about yourself?
You can find me on brightsidemedium.com, or you can find me on Facebook. I have my own group on Facebook as well. So
sounds great. All right. Bye, everybody. And I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. If this is before Thanksgiving, I'm sure it will be. All right. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.